Are the band very political, Mark, at all? Are they?
Not really. No.
No.
No,
You went to Russia
personal,
recently.
you know,
the band headed off to Russia. So, I mean, why go to Russia, by the way?
Well, what we wanted, like we were saying earlier on about wanting to play any place where we possibly can play, what we were able to do was through people that we met in the Soviet Peace Foundation and a group of people called the Foundation for Social Invention. That was a group of writers and musicians who were in the exile within the Soviet Union until Mr. Gorbachev came into power. We were able to put on the first ever privately promoted shows in Moscow, which meant that instead of people having to be invited to come along to see the band, anyone who wanted to could go and buy a ticket and come along. And we were able to play in a stand-up venue so people could jump around and whatever. It's the first ever for them.
It's very trendy for bands to head off to the USSR and play gigs there and use it as a bit of a publicity stunt. Did you get a knocking for perhaps trying to use it as that?
Well, I think the problem is that people didn't actually realise that what we actually did out there was very much a first. The fact that it was done out with the government, you know, whereas in fact, every other person who's been there has went under the auspices of the government, and then people are invited along to go and see the band. But what we did there was we did the first shows which had been put on, where anybody who wanted to go and see the band could go and see them, and they were allowed to jump around and stand up and do what they wanted to do. So that was very much a first, you know. And to be quite honest, if it had been in the normal run-of-the-mill way, which people go by, which is you're invited by the government to go and they're very much in control of everything, I wouldn't have went, to be quite honest.
Your records aren't, of course, on sale over there.
No.
So were there any fans?
Yeah, surprisingly enough there is. What happens is people in throughout the Soviet bloc, the communist bloc countries, are able to tune into Western radio and they make cassettes of what they hear coming through, and then there's a sort of underground black market cassette thing that goes on. So people are very much aware of what's going on musically.
So there were one or two people singing along with whatever?
Yeah, not a lot, but one or two. But what happens is when you get one or two, the rest of them join in phonetically, you know. They may not know the words, but they make all the right noises. Sometimes I do that too.
Yeah. Well, what about problems with just bringing the whole logistical problem of taking a band, equipment and everything to a country like Russia, where they're probably not as geared towards the whole situation as we might be in the West? Did that mean any problems for you?
Yeah, I think if you're going in with the government help, it's okay. But going in ourselves, where every little problem that cropped up had to be solved by ourselves, was unbelievable. Because the bureaucracy there to begin with is outrageous, and there is like the power in Moscow is forever fluctuating. The power goes up and the power goes down. I don't know what they're doing with it, but it's always going up and down and in and out. And yeah, it's unbelievable. Just to try and get in there and do it is outrageous.
Somebody told me you had problems getting your sound equipment back out of the country. Is that true?
No, that was a slight exaggeration by the gentleman of the press. No, what we did was we actually took... Mark is sponsored by Pearl Drums, and Josh, the keyboards player, is a deal with Kawai Keyboards. So what we were able to do, Bruce and myself used Marshall amplifiers and Fender amplifiers, and we were able to take some equipment which those companies gave us and leave it there for use in the music centre in Moscow by Soviet Union.
They just haven't got any equipment at all, really.
So did you leave basically a lot of instruments and
I left the drum kit as what
we
I
left
could
the
muster
drum kit,
together.
keyboards and some amplifiers.
But it wasn't our
But that was
gear that
donated
we
to
were
us to
playing.
take by the companies
And
which
does that
helped
mean that there is a very happy Russians and we're playing rock and roll on a big country set of gear?
Hopefully more than one, because we left it at a music centre which is used by lots of different musicians in Moscow.
Great, that's excellent. Peter Wolf produced the new LP. I'm interested to know why you chose him to work with. He's worked with Starship and I think the Jay Giles band as well.
No, this is a mistake. People have confused. There's two Peter Wolfs.
Oh, right, okay.
Right. The Peter Wolf that we work with is a classically trained pianist from Vienna who played for 10 albums with the Frank Zappa band. And he is the guy who worked with Starship as well. But he's just such a brilliant, off-the-wall genius musician that as soon as I met him, I immediately wanted to work with him. He's got a great attitude. He's a great enthusiast. He's very much like people that we've worked with in the past, like Steve Hollywhite and like Robin Miller, in as much as that he's a great fan of music. He's interested in all different types of music and really gets into people and atmosphere, and he's a real great person to work with.
So Mark, am I the first person to make that mistake of actually thinking it was the Peter Wolf?
We did a month of interviews in America, and everyone thought it was the Joe Giles Peter Wolf. Right. It was a constant correction.
So how long ago were you in America? How many weeks ago, months ago?
A month ago, wasn't it? 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Listening to the LP, it sounds very much geared towards the American market. Was that deliberate on your part?
I don't think so. I mean, people have said this to us, and to be quite honest, it's actually the most live album we've ever done, you know. For the first time, we were actually playing very much as a band in the studio. Previously, what we would do, I would do a guide guitar, and then just do a version of the song just on guitar, and then Mark would lay the drums down and we'd build on that. But this time, Peter encouraged us to play very much as a band in the studio, you know. So, and I think it suits us to do that, you know, because it means that when we take the songs out to do live arrangements, it's very easy for us to communicate the songs properly. Plus, a lot of the material that we recorded this time, we had actually done live before we went to record it, which I think makes a big difference for us, you know. I think it makes the whole thing sound much more cohesive and much more expressive, and lets us keep the arrangements very simple and let the song come across.
Overlays.
We certainly did much less overdubs because we did it live.
Mark, is America somewhere that you would like to conquer in a bigger way?
Yeah, it's a big challenge. I mean, you really do have to spend a long time over there to make any result.
It's been a bit strange for us there because we had a huge burst of success at first there, and then with albums which are perhaps a bit more dense and a bit more complicated for people's listening, things kind of stayed at the same level rather than progress. But it's a nice level to be at, you know. We have a very committed, hardcore following out there, you know, and so it gives us a nice base to build on. We go there to start touring within the next couple of months, and hopefully we'll be able to build on that.
Well, I hope so. And you have a very hardcore, dedicated bunch of followers in this
Indeed, we have.
country as
I
well.
have to say that the support that we've had in this country has been absolutely unbelievable. The people are the warmest and most spiritual people I've ever come across in 15 years worth of touring.
It's the Celtic connection.
Yeah, it must be,
that's
definitely.
what it is. Well, it's not over yet. There's one more date at the National Stadium tomorrow night here in Dublin. I hope it goes tremendously well for you. Stuart and Mark from Big Country, thank you very much. And let's have a look at a song from Peace in Our Time. This is King of Emotion.